Oh, yeah, I
Can you hear
started
me?
it.
Oh, hold on, turn the volume off. Sorry.
You started it and you're recording it.
Oh, can we mute? Should we pause the record?
Continue to what?
To progress thing. To
That's
train. Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, Loretta, you're going in and out, but we're glad you're here. Ashley
Okay.
Parham, glad you're here. Vanya, hello, glad you're here. And my name is Larita. I'm gonna. Oh, first of all, guys, this is a webinar format, so you all, we probably won't see each other. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the permission to talk for now, and we'll go back into the regular format. My name is Larita Talbert, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. What that means to me is that it's been 13 years since I've used drugs to change how I think or feel. Recovery has been amazing, just an amazing journey, and I've had so many blessings. I'm a better mother. I'm a better community member, and I'm just happy to be able to serve the recovery community and my peers in the capacity as the CARES manager. And I speak out about recovery because I want everybody to have the opportunities that I've had. I want to do, well, I'm going to welcome you all. Welcome to November CARES webinar, which is recovery messaging. Today we have Georgia Council's very own Emily Riblett, and she's got a new title. What's your job now, Emily?
We'll just stick with grants and contracts manager for right now.
Okay, and then we have Bianca Landeta, and Bianca also just joined Georgia Council. Well, she's been with Georgia Council for a little while up in Northeast Georgia, but now she's working on the RCO team. And what's your job title?
I am the project assistant for the RCO development team. So that is my official title.
Okay, so with that, I want to tell y'all that you will get a certificate. Give me about a week. If anyone is in here via their phone, like you dialed in, please send me your phone number and your name so I'll know who it is. That way you'll get your certificate. So give me about a week or two to get your certificates out. If you stay for the whole 1.5 hours, you will receive a certificate. If you do not stay, you will not get a certificate. Also, I will have everyone on mute. And if you have a question, please put it in the question box or in the chat box. And we want this to be interactive. We want you to be involved. And I appreciate everybody who's here today. I want to hand it over to Emily Riblett. You're muted, Emily.
Hold on one second, y'all.
No problem.
New little headphones. Give me just one.
No problem. Take your time.
Okay, thank you. Left and right. All right. Can you hear me?
Tell truth where y'all are. As a matter of fact, somebody said look like y'all in jail. So
No. So let me tell you. So my name is Emily Riblett. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. My name. Thank you, Bianca. Yeah. I think so. I think so. Okay. I don't know if I can see. Okay. Let me just do from the beginning here. So my name is Emily Riblett. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is that it's been over 6 years since I've felt the need to use any mind or mood altering substances to change the way I feel. And my recovery today means so much more to me than just abstinence from drugs and alcohol. Today, I'm able to be a present person in the lives of my loved ones and of my amazing coworkers. And today I'm really proud to be a sister. I'm proud to be a daughter, and I'm really proud to be a mom and a grandmother. And I live my recovery out loud today because I want other people to have the same opportunities that I have had to get and stay well. And we, as part of my recovery, thank you for asking, Marie, where we are. We're at the Redan Community Center in Lithonia. And these wonderful folks were kind enough to let us do the training here because we're here to support one of our fellow cares, Lita Farragon, who's going to be starting RCO development here in DeKalb County in the Stone Mountain area. And Lita has been working on this for like 2 years. I met her at Rise Theater years ago, and this is her, she's starting to see her dream come true. And so we wanted to be here to support her. So, you know, it's just really cool to watch the progress in everybody's lives and stuff. So Bianca, do you want to go ahead and introduce?
Wait a minute, I got to tell you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
The folks over here in Stone Mountain, Decatur, Lithonia area, we say Redan.
Okay, thank you. Read it. Thank you. Awesome. Go ahead, Bianca.
Awesome. So, like they said, my name is Bianca Landa Etta. I am also a person in long-term recovery. So for me, it's been a little over 5 years now since I have decided to not use substances as an escape from my reality. And because of my recovery, I now get to work as the RCO development project assistant. So I get to do the awesome job of helping RCOs develop, like what we're going to do tonight with our listening session. And I also am tasked with helping existing RCOs expand their services to Hispanic immigrant and refugee populations, which is a major passion of mine. And I am just super excited to be here. I'm glad all of this is working out so far. And no, we are not in jail. Okay. Remain aware.
Excuse me, is somebody just said they're having trouble hearing you, Emily. Is anyone else having trouble hearing Emily? If you are, put it in your chat box and we'll try to take care of it. If not, then that one person then is you. Sorry.
Yeah, it might be. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah, if you get more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else, please talk a little louder, Emily, but everyone else says it's fine, just a little low.
Okay.
Oh, someone else says they are having trouble.
They are?
A couple of people, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna fix that.
Okay.
Hold on just a sec.
Thank y'all for your patience. They're
Yeah,
out in the back. They're trying to be a service to
Bianca.
us. And Lita Farragon. So thank y'all.
I'll just take them out.
They say you sound a little
Is
muffled.
it any better, everybody? Can you hear me now?
Let's see.
Turn them out.
And the only other thing you might be able to do is you might be able to dial in if you continue to have trouble. Yeah, they're saying it's still muffled.
Loree?
Can you hear me?
Can everybody hear me now?
No, they're saying they're still having trouble.
Now?
Can you hear us?
We're gonna go ahead and get started, and then if not, I'll just take the earbuds out, but we'll try it for this way. So tonight, y'all, we're here to talk about, as cares, how important it is to review recovery messaging and the language that we use. And recovery messaging is really about developing a message that promotes recovery. And we use person first, solution focused language. So we're really grateful for this opportunity to be with you folks tonight. And we're just going to kick this off. We've sent out a worksheet to y'all. Loree she's so amazing. She sent out a worksheet, and we're going to walk through the worksheet. And those of you who have created your elevator speech in the past, this will just give you an opportunity to kind of review that again, and maybe work on, revising your elevator speech for different audiences, or just a refresher course on how important it is to have recovery messaging and using person first, solution focused language. So I'm going to turn it back over to Bianca and Loree to cover the poll question.
Awesome. So while Loree is getting that set up, basically what we are going to have you guys do is a poll question is going to pop up on your screen with a couple of, I think, multiple choice options. We just kind of want to find out, where is everybody coming from, where you all, either working, or how is it that you found yourself to be in this webinar. So Loree will have that popped up on your screen here in just a second.
Do y'all see the poll question?
See it on my side.
All right, everybody. So who is here in the room? Are you a peer providing support to people in or seeking recovery? Are you a family member or close friend of a person in or seeking recovery? Do you supervise peers who provide services? Are you primarily involved in administration? Do you provide clinical services? Or are you just here seeking information or just hanging out with us today? An ally, that would be under other. So we have only 25 out of the 42 people who have voted. So we're going to ask for 100% participation. Emily, if you can hear me, if you continue to have issues, you may be able to dial in from your telephone.
Okay.
And that would be go to the mute button, arrow, and then switch to phone audio.
Okay. Can you hear me, Lori?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. I can hear now.
All right.
She
And
fixed it.
everybody, we have 33 out of the 42, but I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share the results. There you go. So we have almost 85% of the peers here are people providing support to people in or seeking recovery. Awesome. We have 21% who are supervisors, 3% people in administration, and 12% our peers or people providing clinical services. And we got some others here. That's awesome. I'm just happy. I'm trying to take a picture of y'all, but I'm just happy to see that everybody is here today. And I'm going to turn it right back over to Bianca. Give me 1 minute, guys, before before you break out. I'm getting them together now.
Awesome. All right. So as we continue to move forward, something that we like to get set up just to help everyone stay comfortable and make the most of our time together. We have some conversation guidelines that we're going to present to you. And of course, if you guys have any suggestions after that, then you are welcome to put those in the chat. So basically, these conversation guidelines are just going to help to gear our conversation to be the most welcoming and comfortable as possible. So our first guideline is oops, which means if you say anything that just doesn't quite come out right, you can say oops, and we all understand it, wasn't meant any certain way. If someone says something that may offend you, you can say ouch, and then just let that person know that, you didn't quite agree or enjoy the way that they put their words together, but, we're all working on going to do our best to make sure that we're putting our words together well. We are going to ask you guys to be open-minded during this training. And we have a guideline called Vegas rules. So if you say something within this group setting that you would like to not have shared with anybody else outside of this setting, then just preface it with Vegas rules, and we will all know that we're going to keep that with us just for this group. We also ask that you guys are mindful of each other. So, that includes whether you're talking over or in this setting, it helps that we don't really have too much back and forth with the technical things. And then we are also going to ask that you guys monitor your fixing impulse. So if somebody says something and you feel like you have the answer to it, you will just silently hold on to it and avoid trying to fix other people's situations or what they're presenting. We are, of course, going to ask that you all listen. Thank you for your patience with helping us, or as we're getting our audio set up. So we appreciate that. That way you can listen to us. And then we are going to ask that, if you can take some risks, we do have some worksheets that are in this training. So just kind of stretch yourself a little bit if you want to, or if you can, if that's something that you're comfortable with today, take some risks and, do your very best and put your whole self into this process. And then lastly, no hogs and no longs, which means if you typically tend to take up the space talking, maybe try to step back and see what others have to say. And if you tend to be the one in the back, which is, I do that all the time, just kind of sit and observe. We ask that you take, part of that risk and just sort of stretch yourself again and try to engage a little bit more, and we'll have a chance to interact with you all sort of throughout the training. And if you guys have any other suggestions, you are welcome to put that in the chat, and that way we can add that to our list and you're all on the same page.
Thank you, Bianca. So we're going to just go over our roadmap for this particular training today. And we're going to review what is a message. We're going to go over, what the definition of a message is and then how it applies to recovery. And we're going to talk about how important language is. And I mentioned that earlier, that language matters, especially when we're talking about recovering from substance use disorder. We're going to specifically discuss recovery messaging and how that's a little bit different than a message you may use in a different context. This is really about supporting recovery from substance use disorder rather than focusing on the negative about what happened in the past. This is a short message of recovery. And also, we want you to have an opportunity at the end to share your elevator speech and your message and give us a snippet of what that looks like to you. So we really want to have enough time to do that because we love to hear from you and it's that important. So thank you again. So I think we already covered this, what's right with you. And if anyone else would like to share what's right with you, we ask that you please put it in the chat. This is something that we definitely want to highlight, starting off with strengths. And I'll tell you what's right with me today is we had an opportunity to have a Thanksgiving potluck again after COVID. We haven't been able to do that since, gosh, it was 2019 since we got together as an organization. And it was so fun. I mean, it was like unbelievable. It was hectic. It was crazy. It was wild. And it was just really a whole lot of fun to get together with my coworkers today. 'Cause, I mean, it was just magical. So that's what's right with me. What's right with you today, Bianca?
Let's see. So what's right with me is that we are slowly making this technical stuff work. So that I'm not a tech whiz at all, but I'm grateful for you all and your patience. And we're going to do the best that we can in this setting. And it's just right with me that we are in good company to make that happen.
You're awesome. Thank you. What's right with you, Lori?
Hey guys, what's right with me is that I was so happy to see everybody today at our staff potluck. We had many people join Georgia Council during and since the pandemic. So it was great to finally meet in person. And also, I'm just used to being part of that community where we get to see each other and we get to support each other. So it's been hard not being around my people, so it was great being there. And what else is right is that my mom has been had been in the hospital since November 2nd, and she came home from the hospital out of the ICU on Tuesday. So that's also what's right with me.
But
I am so sorry to say this, but I still have some people in the chat box saying they are having some trouble with the audio. I don't know if y'all want to take a look and see, but one suggestion is that when you're not talking, to mute. Maybe there's some feedback. And then I have one other thing to say is this is a webinar format, so we don't have the options for breakouts. So we'll have to do something else. Thank you.
Oh. Yeah, we can take volunteers. Yeah, we'll work through that. We can work through that. So I'm not real sure what we can do about the audio. I want to fix that. I want to just take these off.
But you
just undo, huh?
You sound good to me. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, we'll just mute back and forth. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do what we can with the muting back and forth. And again, apologize for the
We're doing it. We're trying. We're doing our best. But check the chat box out if y'all can see it, because there are some people who got some things what's right with them in there, and then we can just move on.
All right. Super.
Now they're saying they can hear you just fine. There you go.
Oh, super! Yay! All right. So real quick, we're just going to go through some of these Well, good. Everybody's you guys are great. This is great. What's right with me is that I just celebrated 25 years in long-term recovery. My belly button birthdays was 2 days ago. Congratulations. My mom had the birthday message put in the front yard for everyone to see. Timothy, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, how cool. Vanya says I have choices and did some self-care and just came off a 3-day staycay. Way to go. Way to go. That's awesome. What's right with me is that I'm finally off of work. Jamie, glad to hear it. Also, we've got what's right with me. Kia says I'm able to live in the moment today. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. And then we've got, I'm going to read just one more. Amanda Dillard, having had the opportunity as a result of recovery and get to go to college and get my degree in what I'm most passionate about. That's so, right? That's so awesome. Fantastic, you guys. Thank you. Bianca?
You said? Awesome. Cool. So that should cut back on feedback. So I love watching and reading what's right with other people because it's just a good way to get started. Because this part of what we have to talk about is not as fun. So now that we're all charged up, we are going to ask you guys, what are some of the things that people tend to say about people that are either seeking recovery or still find themselves in active addiction? As you guys put that in the chat, I could probably suggest a few terms because I haven't been called very nice things like, junkie or addict. What people have to say about those that are struggling with substance use disorder is not always very nice. And the words that we use have a massive impact on every aspect of that person's journey to recovery, honestly. So if you're using words that are just going to cut them down or heighten the stigma that already exists against them, that tends to be the climate that we find ourselves anyways. So we don't want to help contribute to that and just continue that black cloud that sort of follows substance use.
All right, thank you. That's great. Thank you, Bianca. So what we're going to do now, since we can't really do breakout rooms, we are going to ask the group to participate in the story of how you came to be here today. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to start to have that conversation about some of the things like you guys were dropping in the chat, talking about things that you're passionate about. What brought you here today? There's a reason why you're taking part in this. There's a reason why you became CARE certified. There's a reason why you do peer support work. So what we want to do is hear from you guys today about what brought you here. And I don't know if we have the capability to unmute anyone or if they can share or if we'll just do it through the chat. But we'll definitely tap into the chat. And
do you want me to unmute or you want to raise their hand? What do you want them to do? We can
I'd like them to raise their hand and give them the opportunity to unmute because we would really like to hear. Because normally, and I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the dyad, but I'd imagine most of you are. That was our intention today, is to have you guys break out into dyads so that we could talk about this stuff and get some feedback from you about what brought you here today. But if you don't mind, Lori, we'll just ask people to raise their hand and share what brought you here today.
Sounds
Amanda?
good.
Yeah, thank you, Lori.
Can't you see him? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, Amanda, and can
I just did. There you go.
super
Unmute, Amanda.
Hey, how are you guys?
good. Hey.
So I mean, what brought me here is, years and years of a substance use disorder that just tore me down as the result of PTSD from sexual trauma and from other stuff that happened in my life as a teenager. And I went through that for a long time. And as I moved through all of that, I believed at some point that I was just unredeemable. And then, something happened. I ended up actually getting arrested and met some people that helped me into recovery and got me some help with that. And then I met people like Paige Miller, who had some faith in me and put me forward for the CARES program. And it's been just an amazing journey since then. And now because of all of that and the people like Neil and like Karen and Owen and George, who actually had faith in me and gave me opportunities to show that I could do more than just, you know, be somebody with a substance use disorder working a low-end job. Now I'm doing what I'm passionate about, and I'm going to school to become an LPC and do equine assisted therapy for folks that are just like I was and just like I am. That's it.
Muted.
Was that Timothy?
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda.
So Timothy, there you go. You can unmute.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Well, what brought me here was, of course, being in long-term recovery. I've always worked in different social service type of settings. I was a counselor at a juvenile sex offender treatment center, and then I moved from Chicago to Georgia and started working with people in mental health. But I found that it was difficult for me to relate to some of the problems they had. And but recovery has always been a passion of mine, because not thinking I was going to be successful and then being, you know, successful up to this point, people always came to me for advice and, you know, and they wanted to share with me. And so I started working at a substance abuse treatment center. And I think from the days when I was living in Chicago, I've always wanted to be a peer support specialist. And the opportunity came when I started working here as at the place here, working with other recovering people. And it just presented itself, and here it is, living the dream.
Thank you, Timothy. Anyone else?
Anybody else want to comment? Raise your hand. If you can't. Oh, okay, we got one. All right, Vanya. It keeps, there you go, Vanya. Unmute yourself.
Hey, how y'all doing, family? This is Vanya Larice, not Vanya.
I'm so sorry.
Vanya.
Vanya.
That's all right. Vanya. Think of it with an O. But anyway, or call me Denise. How about that? No. But anyway, thank you guys. I am so glad I could be here, even though I'm still kind of on my staycation. I'm off work actually for the next been off work the last 4 days. So but I didn't want to miss this. I came into recovery already with the passion to want to help and give people hope, like everybody else probably here. It's just a beautiful thing, man. Recovery is awesome. So I want everybody to have recovery, right? Even though, realistically, that's not possible. But being at this, when I come to these webinars, man, I want to be more effective at carrying the message. That's basically why I'm here. I go to the webinars also because, we need our CEUs to keep our certification. But I always learn something to make me better at carrying the message and more effective at helping my peers, man. Because, I think I'm doing right, and my lived experience is enough, and it is. But how to, convey that more effectively, that it could reach, the person, is my aim, and so I'm just real grateful, man. Like, I love recovery, and I do want everybody to have what we have. And so I come to these webinars so I can be more effective in what I do and what I love.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vanya. Thank you so much for sharing.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was just going to read a couple of the other ones. We also said, what brought you here? I was helped out of the fires of addiction by others and want to be there one to help others recover. That was Ashley Farnham. Then we've got Tim Green. He said, the more I know, the more I can resource veterans in recovery. Excellent. And Tony Patterson says, why I do what I do to help people to understand they have purpose in life. Beautiful. You guys, this is amazing. And Gary says he wants to break the cycle within my family. That's beautiful. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you. So we're gonna ask you to do another one now, and I'm gonna turn it back over to Bianca. We're gonna do exactly the same thing again, since we can't do a dyad. Go ahead, Bianca.
All right, so the next one is going to be about the 3 most important groups that you all belong to. So an example would be, for me at least, 3 main groups that I identify with or contribute myself as belonging to. I'm an athlete, I'm Latina, and I am a person in long-term recovery. So those are 3 major things that I identify as, and so those groups of people, I'm the most comfortable with pretty much all the time. So as you guys put that in the chat, we'll go ahead and read it again. And I think if we have a couple volunteers, we'll probably take some of those also.
Okay, so as you guys put some of your answers in the chat box, if you care to share, would it be time for them to raise their hand right now, Bianca?
Yeah, yeah, that
Okay,
sounds good.
raise your hands.
It's just kind of like general categories that you would find yourself in if you were to put yourself in a category. Oh, okay. So I see person of long-term recovery. Oh, it went away. Follower of Jesus, staff at Recovery Connection. That's awesome. And another one says member of Justice Reform Community. That's a cool one. It's a great group to be a part of. I see mother, friend, and woman in long-term recovery. Beautiful. And I see I'm a person in long-term recovery. I'm an equine professional and am a mother. That is beautiful. I think that's so cool.
We have one hand raised. Doreen Kenny, you can unmute yourself.
Hello. 3 groups that are important to me is that I am Muslim. I'm a part of the several 12-step communities for recovery, and that I'm a part of an awesome women's network. My group of sisters are the bomb. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen.
Yay, thank you guys for participating. There's so many in the chat. I'm trying to keep up. So I see, oh, they're all floating in. Okay, person in long-term recovery, RCO family, awesome. 3 important groups I belong to: a person in long-term recovery, spiritual, and a peer in Circle of Hope, the first RCO in Savannah. Oh, cool, that's neat. And let's see, also from, all right, so a person in long-term recovery whose purpose is helping people. So that's a very important group. I think that's something we all can definitely relate to. Sorry, I'm scrolling through these, so they're a little bit random. 3 groups: my family, and a home group, and faith community. Sweet. Thank you, guys. And of course, you guys can keep putting them in there, even if I don't get a chance to read them all. We will, of course, read them afterwards. And so we'll have it all in like a big transcript that we go through. So I'm going to read you guys this quote real quick by Bill White. It says, "Many of us have a message of hope on a one-to-one basis. This new recovery movement calls upon us to carry that message of hope to whole communities and the whole culture. It is time we step forward to shape this history with our stories, our time, and our talents." And so Bill White is considered one of the fathers of the recovery movement as a whole.
Thank you, Bianca. Awesome. So what is a message? So basically, a broken down basic definition is an exchange of information using words. And then it's also important information that you want your listener to hear. It's crucial that you know what you want to say and leave in people's minds. And I know, as far as those of us who have come through CARES, we understand the importance of the elevator speech, of that very short, concise message, where it's critical that we're trying to get across a message of hope that's person-centered and that lifts up recovery. So again, it's crucial that we know what we want to say ahead of time and leave in people's minds. That's kind of why we try to do this, so that it doesn't come across as being extemporaneous, but it's actually a planned message, so that we're really clear when we're sharing that with other people. So what's not in the message? Let's bring this up just for a minute. And the reason why we do this is, you know, I'm a 12-stepper. I love 12-step. And I understand that in 12-step fellowships, I'll share what it was like, what happened, and what it was like now. But that takes usually almost an hour, or at least, you know, more than 15 minutes. And in this particular case, we're trying to consolidate what we're sharing so that we can have the most impact with the shortest amount of time. So in this particular instance, just in this particular recovery message, we're not going to disclose whether we don't want to talk about the fact that we're an addict or an alcoholic. Today, I'm a person in long-term recovery, and we're not trying to promote any one particular pathway to recovery. Not that there's anything wrong with promoting a pathway of recovery. I'm all about it. But in this particular message, it's really just about promoting recovery is in general. Oops, I lost my next slide. So also, another thing we don't particularly share in this particular message is a definition of recovery. There are many different definitions of recovery, but in this particular instance, we're just we're steering away from defining recovery. Recovery is very personal, and this is your own personal message. And then we're also not talking in this particular instance about the fact that addiction is a brain disease. Now, a lot of us believe that addiction is a brain disease. I believe that it is a disease. I believe it's a treatable, preventable, chronic disease. However, in this particular recovery message, we leave that debate and that discussion for another time.
So we cut all of those things to help make our message just short and simple. So the whole point of this training is, like Emily was saying, to kind of condense all of the things that we usually say into less than 2 minutes. So that can be really tough. So which is why we're kind of telling you guys what is going to take a little bit more time if we were to add that in our message. So that's why we're going to just leave it out. But we're going to find ways to just make it simplified so that we can fit it within those 2 minutes. So we want to make sure that it's clear, concise, short, and simple. Yeah. So we're going to focus on just talking about recovery. Like Emily was saying, of course, we're not going to define it. It's going to focus on the better parts of what recovery has offered you. That way you don't get too far down the rabbit hole of how awful it was, because you can mention it, but it's always best to have the focus on how positive it is to be in recovery. So that's where our focus is going to stay. So the language that you're going to use in this message is super important, of course. So you want to make sure that your message isn't something, or it doesn't contain words that's going to decrease the support from the person that you're speaking to. It's not going to increase the fear that they may or may not have of this disease. And you want to make sure it's not going to decrease or increase the discrimination that people already face when talking about this topic. So what we want to do is use language that's going to help shatter the stigma that is existing around this. So to do that, we're going to make sure that our words are going to convey a message that is increasing the awareness and understanding that you're bringing to this person with your information. You want your words to help bring support from that other party. And you want to, of course, offer some education in that short, 2-minute period. That way, you're well educated and, like we were saying, well versed in this message. So it sounds like you're prepared and ready for the conversation that might come out. So.
Thank you, Bianca. So here we usually try to ask a member of the presentation to handle the say this side. And I don't know, is that going to be an issue tonight, Loree? Do you think we can do that? Where I'll read off the red side where it'll be don't say this side, which will all be in red. And then I ask one volunteer to read the other side, which is
you
the
can do
say
it.
this.
You can
Is
do
that
that.
okay?
Somebody to raise their hand and I'll unmute them.
That'd be great. So who would like to volunteer? Do we have 3 separate slides for this? And so I need 3 separate volunteers. Who would like to be the first volunteer to help out? Loretta, thank you so much. All right, so what I'm gonna do, and then whoever raised, look at this. You guys, I love you guys. This is awesome. So whoever raised their hand second, we'll do the second slide. Whoever raised their hand third, we'll do the third slide. You guys, thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna start off with don't say ex-addict. Loretta, what would you say instead?
Person living in recovery.
Awesome, thank you. Don't say battling or suffering from an addiction. Say,
Person living with an addiction.
thank you. Person living with addiction, that's right. So don't say addict, junkie, or druggie.
Person with a substance use disorder.
Excellent. And so what do those 3 statements all have in common in the green?
That's what you say?
Right, but what do they have in common?
Positive.
Yeah.
Right? And what word do they all start with?
Person. They're person first.
Exactly. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. This is great. All right, I need another volunteer to do the second slide, please.
That's all you do?
Ready? Do we have
Okay.
our volunteer? Okay, ready? So don't say drug offender.
Person
Okay.
arrested for a drug violation.
That's right. Don't say non-compliant, not willing, not ready.
Chooses not to at this point.
Excellent. You guys are great. Don't say that medication is just swapping one drug for the next.
Medication assisted treatment is a treatment tool for recovery when used as prescribed.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. All right, we're going to go over the last one. Don't say she or he relapsed. Say,
At a setback.
don't say dirty drug screen.
Positive drug screen.
Mhm. Don't say stayed clean.
Maintained recovery.
All right, so let me get some feedback about this one. I love this slide. This is one of my favorite slides. What do you guys feel about this?
It's more positive and more less stigma.
Sure is. Sure
Yeah,
is.
and it doesn't give you, I mean, like saying stayed clean suggests that at one time I might have been just dirty. And that's not the message we want to give. That brings that stigmatized old vision of, the addict or alcoholic who is, dirty and living, under a bridge with a paper bag of, a bottle of Ripple in a paper bag with all of these stigmatized stereotypes that, don't really illustrate what substance use disorder actually looks like in most cases. I mean, there are lots of stuff, dirty drug screen, like that just sounds so horrible. It's cringy,
Exactly. And using the
Also,
word exactly. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was about to say it gives a more engaging and positive effect of what's going on with the recovery process, and it allows the person the person to be more receptive to receiving the treatment. Or
Beautiful. Beautiful. You guys are awesome.
It's also more strength-based and it encourages engagement from the other person.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Thank you for participating. That's fantastic. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
So at this point, I think we're gonna pull out the worksheet that Bree was nice enough to send out prior to this training. And so there is a section on it that is gonna ask the question, who am I? And basically what we want you all to do is to kind of start building an answer to that. It is like one of those giant questions that have all these answers. So we're gonna give you some help. So in this message that we're going to be presenting to people, when you're identifying yourself, you might have heard me and Emily say it. I say I'm a person in long-term recovery. Other options might be, you know, you're a family member of a person in recovery, or you're a friend of a person in recovery. You can say that you work as a certified peer. You can just say that you're curious about the topic. So I am a person that's curious about this topic. Or you can identify yourself as a counselor or clinician that works with people in recovery. Or basically whatever else, you know, your title might be, or however you would like to begin presenting yourself to people with this 2-minute message. So on that worksheet, if you guys want to pick one or just kind of start building out that sentence, that space is available to you. And like we said earlier, what we really want this message to be is clear and concise. So to do that, we just want to put in the most important details. That way we have that perfect message that is deliverable in a very short amount of time, but going to be very effective because of what we are offering the other person.
Thank you, Bianca. That's beautiful. So why do we want to do this? Now we're talking about what we're doing, but why are we doing this? And there could be a few reasons why we're doing this. You know, one reason could be that this person that we're speaking to, whether it's, you know, a politician or a lawmaker or a police officer or an educator or someone who may employ folks, or it could be someone, again, someone who's just might be just missing information and they want to know more about this topic. It could also be that we're trying to make a connection. We're trying to build relationships out in the community, and we're trying to help educate folks about what it is that peer support is and how important recovery is and so forth. And it could also be that we're advocating for social change, right? Let me tell you guys, an article came out, many of you may have already read this, but an article came out today that stated that within the last 12 months, overdoses have increased 40% from the previous year. Now, going into the pandemic, that number was decreasing. We were seeing decreases in overdoses, but that number is skyrocketing. We need some social change. We need awareness, you know, et cetera. Don't even get me started. But the point is that this message is a way to open the door to further social change in the area of recovery from substance use disorder, right? And we are the change makers, you all. That's what we're here for, you know? So some helpful tips about your recovery message. Also, a couple things, and this is on your worksheet as well. So you might want to, again, revisit who you're talking with. And I'm sure many of you have heard this saying before too. Know your audience. Again, you might not say the same things to a group of high school students as you would to a group of lawmakers. Or you may have a different message to a group of concerned mothers than you would to a group of correctional officers. You know, it's just a slight variation in the message that you're carrying. So, and you know, you might tweak the groups that you belong to, because we all belong to many groups, and it might, you know, you may want to tweak your recovery message to suit that audience. So we want to think about why do we think that they will care or have an interest in recovery? What is it? Are they a source of funding potentially? Are they a good recovery collaborator in the community? You know, do they provide jobs to people in recovery? Any number of these things could be true. And they may have a family member or a friend who is in recovery or in active addiction and or is living with mental health challenges. So these are just some things to think about as you're completing the worksheet and as you're putting together your recovery message.
So what experiences of recovery will your audience relate to? So that kind of goes back to that question of what groups you kind of identify with, because sometimes those things are universal in a sense. They're things that people can connect with. And that's going to be a key part of your message, because what you want is bring something that someone is going to be receptive of. So, and to do that in a short amount of time, you want to make sure that you're hitting on kind of things that are more or less universal, things that are going to really capture the attention of your audience. So on your worksheet, since we are all there, we want you guys to identify 3 specific experiences of recovery in your life or in the life of the person that you care about if you're an ally. And we also want you to identify 3 experiences that dispel the myths and or support the messages of recovery. Or yeah, dispel the myths of active use. So all of that.
And now we're going to review some of those myths so you can kind of think about that. So so we'll say, I live my recovery out loud today because I want others to have the same opportunities that I've had to get and stay well. We have a lot of myths out there that really need to be addressed. And one of those is once an addict or alcoholic, always an addict or alcoholic, right? And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I certainly have heard it. And I've certainly felt it. There was a time in my life where I felt that this was true. But the truth of the matter is there are more treatments, strategies, and community supports than ever before, and there are more on the horizon. So recovery from substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, opioid use disorder is not only possible today, but we know that recovery today is the expectation.
Another myth that you might have heard is that I can't do anything for someone who's suffering from an addiction or alcoholism, but that is why we're all here, because the truth of that is that you can do a lot, and it all starts with the way that you act and how you speak, because our words build our reality. And so you can help nurture an environment that's going to build on someone's strengths and promote their good mental health rather than cutting them down and just, getting them at the knees basically and just not helping in any way. So whether you're an ally or you're just a friend, and if you feel hopeless, always know that you can help just in the way that you speak and the way that you're acting towards that person. Another myth is that people with mental health challenges are violent and unpredictable. I don't think anyone, or I think everyone can agree that there's really not a big difference. The reality is that the vast majority of people who have mental health needs are no more violent than anyone else. And you probably know someone with mental illness and don't even realize it because they act just like anybody else most of the time.
So also, and I think we touched on this a little bit as well, the recovery message that you bring can help advocacy efforts. And we are advocate. I know I can only speak for myself. Personally, I am an advocate for recovery. I choose to live my recovery out loud every day because I want to advocate for others to get and stay well. Now, some folks would prefer to not speak out loud about their recovery, and that's fine. But we want to give them the option, and we want to give allies the option to talk about this, because the more we talk about it, like Bianca was sharing, we break down the stigma. And if you are advocating for any specific actions, make sure to let the audience know what you're advocating for. I'm advocating for this bill to get passed. I'm advocating for recovery support funding. I'm advocating for changing, in how things are done in family treatment court. It could be any number of things, but just keep that in mind and address that. So again, we're going to be referring to your worksheet. What do you want people to know when you're finished? It could be something as simple as, I want people to know that recovery is real. Or it could be, I want people to know that today I and we contribute to society. It could be that you've come through something very difficult and that you're doing well today and thriving. I see some messages out on Facebook like this, and every time I read them, I'm just like overwhelmed and inspired by people who put their stories out there about, their charges being dropped and getting off of probation. And, that stuff's really important. And I think it's important. We should shout that from the rooftops, but that's my opinion. And it could be something else. It could be any number of reasons why you might want to do this. But it is important that we speak with one voice and that we speak with a positive, person first, hope-filled message, because that's what we want to drive home.
So to help with further constructing that, there we go. So some things that you might want to ask yourself as you're putting your message together is, of course, like we covered, who is your audience? You want to ask yourself, what do you want this person or this audience to think about what it is that I'm saying? You want to ask yourself, what do you want them to feel? And then lastly, when they walk away from the conversation with you, what do you want them to do? You might want to mute yourself, Emily.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're fine. Okay, so real quick, just as an example, as you all are putting your pieces together, this is a recovery message from our HR person, actually. So her name is Jill. And I'm just going to read it to you guys that we have sort of an idea of what this full recovery message sounds like. So it says, hello, everyone. My name is Jill, and I am a person in long-term recovery. For me, that means that it's been 6 years since I have felt the need to use substances to escape from my reality. My recovery has allowed me to become a better mother, a better daughter, and overall, a person who I enjoy looking back at in the mirror. I'm graduated with a bachelor's degree in sociology and been given the opportunity to be part of the amazing work of the Georgia Council as the HR manager. What I would like others to know is that recovery is a possibility to everyone, no matter your age, language, cultural background, or any other barriers that try to stand in the way. And today I speak out about my recovery so that others have more opportunities to find their wellness and maintain a new way of living. So more or less, this is kind of how at the very end of this, a recovery message will sound. It's quick, simple, easy, something that you can kind of throw out there in less than 2 minutes. And it's engaging. So it's hopeful, all the things. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to start working on that.
So on the back of your worksheet, there's a space for you to write out your recovery message. And even if you've done this in the past, we'd really appreciate it if you would take this opportunity to redo it, you know, and you don't have to rewrite. You can rewrite the same one if you want to. It doesn't have to be different from the one that you wrote when you were coming through CARES. It doesn't have to be, you know, anything. But the idea here is practice, you know, we want to hear from you. And because this is the part that always brings me to tears. I want to hear your recovery message. Bianca wants to hear your recovery message, I think, right? And Laria want to hear your recovery message, we hope. Brian's now with us, and I know he wants to hear your recovery message. So we're all here to support you. If you don't mind, please take just a few minutes to piece together those things that you've created on your worksheet and create yourself a less than 2-minute recovery message. And there's probably some of you out there who are already raising your hands and you're ready to share, because I know you, because you're rock stars and you're recovery leaders in the community. So I'd love to see who wants to go first. And you have 2 minutes. And we want to hear, you know, your recovery message, if you don't mind, please. And if anybody needs us to, we'll go back to the slide that has the Jill's message on there as an example. If anyone would like us to do that, we're happy to go back through the slides and show that as an example for you guys to follow along. And at this time, if we can get a show of hands of someone who would like to go first, we'd like to share as many recovery messages as we can with everyone in the group. I can't see their hands. Louise, and does anyone have their hand up yet?
No, well, let's just go ahead and let them go
Yeah.
through this and give them about 2 or 3 minutes. And
Yeah.
and
Go
then,
back and, okay. I'm just gonna go back and show this as, I'm sorry, Lori, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I apologize.
you're okay. But y'all, you know, we like to hear from you. And this is not our webinar, as in the panelists and the host. This is your webinar. So after the time is up, we're going to depend on you to share with us your recovery elevator speeches, old or updated or new. Thank you.
I saw Loretta's hand go up. Yay!
It must have went up and back down.
Yeah, it did disappear. So If you need a couple more minutes, that's okay.
Okay. Guys, and we do see Loretta has her hand raised, but in addition to Loretta, can we hear from someone that we haven't heard from as well? We don't want any hogs in here or any logs. Everyone is important. And your story matters.
Jamie has her hand up. Hi.
Hello. We can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, here we go. My name is Jamie, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. I live my recovery out loud so that I can share hope to those still suffering. It has been over 6 years since I've had to use any substances to numb or change the way that I feel. Recovery has given me the ability to show up as a mother today and to be a representative of recovery in my community. I'm able to be trusted today by my friends and family. I am a business owner today, and I am also a wife in a healthy relationship today. I choose to live my life sober and to advocate for others to have a chance to see that recovery is possible. I share this message so others know that recovery is real.
That sounded great. Emily's having a party. That was fantastic. You hit all the good points. Thank you. Good job. I think I saw someone else's hand popped up and then jumped away.
Right. You can share. I wasn't saying that you couldn't share. I was just saying this here from somebody else. So I'll go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Loretta, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means is that I have 33 years of sobriety with no mood, mind altering substances. My recovery has allowed me to be a part of my family and to engage in my educational endeavors, as well as become a part of the Georgia Council of Substance Abuse Peer Specialist Program. I'm also a certified addiction counselor, which has allowed me to work with those in long-term recovery and to be able to educate others on what I've learned since being a part of the Georgia Council of Substance Abuse Addictive Diseases Program. And I am also a daughter who is more or less reliable today. So that's my story. Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Thank you for sharing. And yes, 33 years. That's super awesome. Ashley shouted you out in the chat also. I see Vanya and another hand. Oh,
Vanya, we're going to hear from Barry and then Julie. I'm going to go ahead and unmute y'all, but go ahead and wait your turn, okay? All right, there you go.
Hey, my name's Barry, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is that I've not found it necessary to use any mind-altering substances in over 17 years. Prior to recovery, my life was about broken promises and unrealized dreams. And I dropped out of high school, failed to meet family obligations, and became unemployable. As a result of a life in recovery, I've become a father that my adult children turn to for advice, a loving grandfather, a serving husband, a reliable and compassionate friend, empathetic peer support, and an encouraging employer. I have a life today that is fulfilling. I have a faith that is empowering and an outlook on the future that is hopeful. I am passionate about recovery because I know that it is never too late to recover and that recovery is for everyone. Today, I help others to achieve long-term recovery from substance use disorder by providing experienced peer support and advocating for self-directed care.
That was awesome, Barry. Good job. You had wonderful adjectives. I will say that. That was great. Thank you for sharing that.
So before
Every
Barry,
time
we're waiting on Vanya as well. So we're gonna go Vanya, then was it Amanda? No, Julie, then Amanda, okay? Thank you, Barry.
Vanya, are you able to share?
Hey, yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. I got two screens. I'm here. Sorry about that. My name is Vanya, who is a person in long-term recovery, which means for me that I've not found it necessary to use any mood or mind altering substances to change the way I feel or cope with life in over 27 years. Recovery has afforded me the ability to be present in my life as a healthier human being. Today, I am an awesome mom, a respected member of my family, a loyal friend, and a dependable employee, and a value to my community and the world. That is a far cry from the woman who lived a life of homelessness, prostitution, and dereliction, and a menace to my community. I'm proud of the woman I'm becoming, and still I am proud of the woman I am, and still becoming. I live my life out loud because I want the world to see what recovery looks like. Today, as part of an amazing team at Navigate, where we serve individuals and families impacted by substance abuse disorder, and by connecting them to resources and removing barriers that prevent them from getting and staying well, and now a proud member of CARES 40, I am better equipped to empower others on their self-directed path to long-term recovery, to advocate and change the way the world sees and treats us. I am humbled and grateful to be walking in my purpose.
Whew, that last line hit.
Beautiful.
That was awesome.
That was beautiful.
That was
Vanya,
awesome.
thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. This is Julie. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we hear you. All set.
Okay. My name is Julie, and I'm a woman living in long-term recovery from the diseases of addiction, mental illness, and multiple sclerosis. Today, I'm a CARES, CPS addicted disease, and CPS mental health. I'm working as an addictive disease case manager in the community today. I live my recovery out loud so that others may see that recovery is possible. Lately, the people that I have been talking to are from the Georgia Department of Community Supervision and the judicial system. They look to me for information and education regarding addiction and mental illness. I've been working with new probation officers, and they are thirsty for the knowledge. An example of my recovery is that after 20 years of living on Social Security, I returned to work, and I've been working 12 years so far. I want others to see that recovery is real and that people living with the diseases of addiction and mental illness are more likely to be victims of violence and crime and not perpetrators of violence and crime. I want law enforcement, DCS, the judicial system as a whole to have a better understanding that addiction is a disease. It's not a choice. It is a treatable disease. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. You guys are doing great. These are fantastic. Do we have any other hands? Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, you have Amanda and then Deborah Strohs.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Amanda, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. What that means for me is that it's been 7 years since I had to use a mood or mind-altering substance to deal with my life. My recovery has afforded me the opportunity to be a fully present mother and member of my family, to be a college student working towards a degree in counseling psychology, an advocate, a peer, a friend, and the ability to get the job of my dreams. What I want the world to know is that the reason I speak out about my recovery is so that others know that no matter who they are or where they're from, recovery is possible for everyone. And so that everyone has the same opportunities that I was given to get and to stay well. I want everyone to know we can and do recover.
Emily rooted for you in the back. That was great. Go ahead,
Okay.
Deborah.
Hello, all my friends. This is a different message for me this time, and perhaps only Loree might know why. So I am a woman in long-term recovery, over 26 years since I've had the desire to use a mind-altering drug. I've hit, as we might say, some challenges due to a serious medical condition for the last 7 months. And thank you, Loree, every step and everything you did for me helped. But what I want my friends to know is that nothing has changed from my first message. I entered my path wanting to die, absolutely hopeless. And back over 26 years ago, 2 people came into the emergency room. I didn't know their names. They just said that they had some hope to share. They shared their hope and gave me the first hope which put me on my path. That hope allowed me from then on to wake up wanting to live, and that has never changed. So even though my elevator speech may change a little depending on what's happening around me, within me, that desire to live has never wavered. So what I want people to know is that with hope, with gratitude, even when some of the things you love the most might go away, if you open your eyes, a new window or a new door will open, and there will be something that will be exciting and passionate for us. Recovery has saved my life. It's made me the woman I am today, a better mother, a better grandmother, a better friend, a better worker. And I am so grateful to everyone who's helped me on that path. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Emily should have brought tissues. She's leaking. All right, who do we have next? Or was that everyone?
Did Amanda go? Amanda Dillard? Then that would be Tony Patterson, and that would be it. If that's okay with y'all.
Yeah, I think we're good on time, right?
Okay, it's up to you guys. Just let me know. I'm gonna allow them to talk. There you go. Tony, go ahead and unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
Well, okay. Well, my recovery has taught me there was a method to my madness, and the method was to find my purpose for life and not dismantle it by destroying it through drugs and alcohol and mental health problems. Now that I'm a person who has been in long-term recovery 35 years, I've learned that I can give my message of hope to other people and help them to understand that they have a purpose to live and not to destroy themselves. As long as I keep learning and building and developing, I will become one of the most powerful persons in my life and hopefully touch other people's lives as well. Thank you.
Yes.
That was inspiring. That was beautiful, Tony. Thank you. That was really beautiful. Short, sweet. You guys are just on point. These are just beautiful messages. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
As of right now, we don't have any, oh, Debbie has her hand raised again. Hold on. There you go, Debbie.
Oh, I think one of the best lessons is how things can change. So not only do I look to change my message whether I'm speaking to somebody, let's say, state senator, or am I speaking to someone who's right sitting next to me who's going through it? And then we have to learn that for ourselves as well, that things change and that we have to be flexible and look for the opportunity to try new things. All those horse people out there, I'm a horse lover. They told me I may not be able to ride again, but I need to be grateful that I can walk. So maybe I'll be smelling the horses or volunteering, but we have to be able to open ourselves up, not only to our audience, but to ourselves.
Thank you for that. I'll be honest, I know it's a webinar where we're supposed to be teaching, but I definitely needed to hear that. So thank you. It was a really great point.
Does anyone have any questions about this training or about anything at all, since we have a little bit of extra time? Does anybody have anything else? Thank you again, everyone who's shared so far. Does anybody have anything? Thank you, Francis. Francis says, I apologize, guys. I'm on my way home from work. Y'all are awesome. Our lives and our messages of hope. Keep living it out loud. That was beautiful. Thank you, Francis. Does anybody have anything that you'd like to share? Would you like to share your recovery message? Would you like to share something about this training? We do
This
have
is Jean.
human. Yeah.
And I would like to tell, was it Deborah that was talking about being ill recently and what she might have to do? I would just like to tell her that in 1995, I was told that I would be in a wheelchair within 5 years, and I'm still walking. Don't buy into everything that doctors tell you, because they don't know everything. They might think that they do, but they don't.
Thank you, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Gaines, he had his hand raised, and you are unmuted. Go ahead and with your comment.
Okay, thank you, Laree. My name is Michael Gaines, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. What that means to me is that I haven't had a drink in 4.5 years. Back in September of 2017, I was given the opportunity after being released, coming from jail, to participate in the Rockdale County Accountability Court. In an 18-month program, finished in 14 months. I stayed connected through all of the pandemic and through via Zoom, and was able to finally get into CARES 43. I'm still working on that test, Laree, so that's coming next. But it has really, the people at CARES, as you guys, have really changed my life. I've been married 30 years now. Same woman who divorced me 5 years ago. Son's doing great. Grandkids are doing great. Through the grace of God, I'm able to be here tonight. Thank you.
Michael, thank you. Congratulations. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Doreen had her hand raised.
Yeah, we have Alvin Cotton, who had his hand raised, and Doreen. Alvin can go next, and Doreen, you're next. You both are already unmuted.
Hey, everybody. My name's Al. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I really appreciate this training because we've had a lot of work that we've been doing over here with stigmatizing language in the hospital. I work at UAB Medical Center, which is a really big hospital in Birmingham. And it's amazing what some of the physicians and nurses don't know. And, the derisive term that you keep hearing to describe the patients over here is frequent flyer. And funny thing about it is that if you call the patient that to their face, they would agree with it too. It's a matter of education and standing up for recovery on both sides, both with the peer and with the staff, to make sure they all know that recovery is possible, and that it's the expectation. So thank you for this today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Al. And you know, they're starting to change that to friendly faces at the Northeast Georgia Health System.
That's what we use too.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Doreen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to share my recurring speech. I didn't know y'all was still trying to fill in the time. I thought y'all was ending it with something else, but I was trying to share my recovery speech with y'all.
Please share it. I was going to ask you to, but I didn't want to call it.
I was just going to share one. I haven't done
Yeah.
this in a long. Okay, I haven't done this in a long time, but my name is Doreen. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and what that means to me is that I haven't had any mind-altering substance for 14 years, 11 months, and 11 days. And I try to get it to the exact day, because every day that I'm able to wake up and not just come to is still a miracle to me. Grateful to be working with Georgia Council as a CARES, and from volunteering and being part of several recovery groups and community efforts, I've been able to use my voice that embraces the fact that recovery is real and lasting and can be obtained by multiple pathways, and that we can live recovery out loud. This gift of a new life in recovery would not be possible without a loving and caring God and person and the different people in recovery that I have been able to work with in the community and with work. I'm excited about assisting others and encouraging them to see that there is a better life through recovery, and that they can make that individual decision, and then that will engulf the family and the community and society, and it can impact the world. I could never do this alone, and we are committed to showing others that they do not have to do this alone either. Long-term recovery is a reality for me, and it can be for anyone, and it can start today. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. I'm really crying. Oh, thank you, Doreen. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Are you crying again?
Thank you.
That was really nice. Yeah. Thank you.
Can we hear something from Dawn? Dawn, you know, she always has some nice things to say, and she's doing the work up there in Northeast Georgia. And I know messaging is important up in the hospitals, as Alvin said. So I'm gonna unmute you and allow you to say something if you would.
Yeah, hey everyone. So Alvin, that was a good point, and I put in there, you know, Emily said we call them friendly faces, and also we refer to people that come back a few times as people that are still seeking recovery. So having said that, gives me the chance to do my elevator speeches. My name is Dawn. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is it's been 14 years since I found the need to use substances to deal with my mental health or depression. And I'm committed to my recovery today because it has allowed me to be present for my own life and my own wellness. I can be of support today as well as receive support. I can manage my physical and mental well-being to sustain independent and a comfortable life. What I want to dispel myth-wise, as y'all were asking earlier, is that people can and do recover. I want people to know that connection is the answer to support a person seeking recovery. You have to make connection by listening. No one is defined as their mental illness or their substance of use, nor am I, nor will I be. And what I want people to know that they can do is connect with someone this very day that needs support by listening. And you can overcome barriers and stigma to get to what you want your recovery to look like. And if I can add too, I've really enjoyed sitting in on this webinar. I'm glad I tuned in because the recovery messaging that we have to use regularly in the hospitals. We bust the stigma, and we have shifted the culture with inside our own community by being present and just being a person representing and standing up loud and say, hey, I'm a person in long-term recovery. And for me, I just turned 51 years old, as I put in the chat. But for me, that's a really big deal to be an older person to say that. It gets attention. And the more we speak it around every professional corner that we approach, the more that we shift that culture instantly, and everybody wants to get on board. So this is a great webinar, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm so glad you get to be a part of it, and thank you for just being you and always saying all the right things. So thank you. And I'm grateful that you're up there in the hospitals and just doing your thing.
Well, I think, thank you. Thank you everyone who shared. Thank you guys for participating. Thank you for everything that you do every day in your communities to help people get and stay well. That goes for people in recovery as well as allies, people who are curious about this topic. Everyone who joined us today, thank you. And Laree, thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you for all the hard work you do all year long to help all of us. I don't know, I couldn't do this without you. Same with you, Bianca. Would not have done this without you guys. So thank you again. Thank you for this opportunity. This is my favorite training, always. And I really appreciate you guys. So we're out of time.
Well, thank you, Emily and Bianca. You guys are the best. I appreciate you all for just coming and sharing this with us. Sometimes it's good to just get back to the basics and just go over some things. And out of everyone that shared today, it allowed me to just learn a little bit more about each of you. And it helps me to remain grateful by hearing the powerful stories and experiences of hope from the peers. It just helps me to know that, recovery is hope, and that everybody wants a better life. And I just thank everybody here. We do have about 5 more minutes, but Emily and Bianca, I know y'all are getting prepared to start. If you all would like to go, that's fine with me. I want to give you all a hand, but I do have a couple of people who have their hand raised. So thank you very much, Emily and Bianca. Guys, these guys are running around the city, setting up while they're preparing to do another event long into the night to help us and to to expand peer recovery support in the communities in Georgia and the nation. How amazing. Thank you so much. Sabrina, let me go ahead and unmute you. And Bianca and Emily, I can't do what y'all do, and I can't do it without y'all. Thank you. If I can go back to Sabrina, I will unmute you. There you go. Sabrina, mute yourself.
Yes. I'd like to thank y'all for the information, for the dedication, for a better understanding and a better clarity of our message. I think when I came, CARES 2728, like you guys have progressed and given me and broadened my understanding. And as I grow in this process, my perspective has changed, and so are the people around me. So y'all allow me to still be effective. I don't have to be all over, but I'd like to be effective in the place that I'm in. And I'm so excited because not only am I a mother, a grandmother, I'm a great grandmother. And I can be that better great grandmother through this process. There's a lot of people in my community, and I'm 65, and I've never seen so many people wanting what we have and don't know how to ask for it. And that was an issue I had. So today I concentrate on that one thing, and y'all give me the perspective. I don't have to be everywhere, but where I am, I want to be effective. So I thank y'all today for some more clarity and understanding so I can further carry this message in my community. Thank you, Loree. Congratulations to everybody. And thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Sabrina. And I thank you for this beautiful picture because their hair is everything.
Girl, stop.
Thank you. Guys, we got about 3 minutes in case anybody else want to say anything. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions? Go ahead, Amanda.
Hey, so I just want to thank you guys for doing all of these. They're absolutely amazing. I think sometimes I can, just because what I do every day for a living is I work in treatment, but I don't get to really using something like an elevator speech on a regular basis and these days. So I think stuff like this and allowing me to get kind of back in touch with that and to really notice the differences from when I first started as a cares 4 years ago and to now, and all of the different things my recovery has even afforded me in that period of time, you know, is just an amazing thing to actually see. When I write it on paper, it's different to know it and to see it in print, and then to speak it out loud in that context is absolutely empowering and super amazing. And being able to do these webinars has been really, really helpful, just to kind of get back in touch with some of the stuff I may not have used yesterday or the day before, because of, you know, just not having the opportunity to do so in day-to-day life sometimes. So I think it's just really helpful to get back in touch with that. The other thing was a message for you, Loree. I've been trying to get in touch with you on another issue. I left my phone number in the host and panelist chat. If you would give me a shout, either later or tomorrow or sometime. It's a super important question.
I'm sorry, Amanda. It must be way back. I don't see it. Do me a favor. If you see the question box, put it in there and I can grab it.
The what now?
I don't see it in the chat box.
Oh, in the question and answer?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I don't see it in the chat box, but I'll be happy to get back with you. No problem. Awesome. And I thank you for your participation. I want to thank everybody who shared and those who didn't share, just for being here. And I want to remind you guys that you'll get a 1.5 CEUs for attending this webinar. We have one more opportunity for CEUs this year, and that will be next month, the third Thursday of the month from 11:30 to 1. You will have the last recovery cares webinar, and it will be on advocacy, because as you know, January is ARAD. So I don't think we're going to be in person this year either, but we still need your support. I also want to remind everybody about the license plate campaign that we have, and we're asking you to prepay $25 for our new recovery license plate, which the funds are going to benefit the Georgia Council and Georgia Mental Health Community, Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network, and it'll go out into the community and help promote recovery from mental health and substance use disorder. So that is one way that you can speak out loud, by having this license plate on your car saying that recovery is real. Also, you can call our warm line, and I'll put that in the chat box for anybody who may need it. And other than that, you all are free to go. Thank you so much. If you want the warm line number, stick around. I'm going to put it in a chat box as soon as it comes up. Okay. And I thank you all.
Thank you, Loree.
So our website, in the number is and you can call this number or text anytime you will, up until 11:30 at night. 844-326-5400, and give it to somebody that you know that may need it. They do not have to be in Georgia. They can call from anywhere. And I'm trying to write this number down. I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you so much. I'll give y'all 1 minute, before I go out. I don't want to leave if y'all are getting this number down. So as you get the number, go ahead and just hit leave. Thank y'all for being here. I love you all. And Amanda, I got your number. I'll call you shortly. Thank you, Sabrina. Yes, Sabrina, we can talk. I'll call you too. I'll be happy to talk to you. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. If anybody needs anything else, give me a shout, an email, a call, or something. You all know how to get in touch with me. Have a good evening.